Welcome back to the Rock Your Retirement Show. I'm your host, Kathy Klein, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the future of the Rock Your Retirement Show. I sent an email out a few weeks ago to the email subscribers, and I mentioned it in the Facebook group, but it's come to my attention that I didn't really explain myself to the listeners who were either not subscribed to the newsletter, didn't read it, or are not part of the Facebook group, etc., etc. So some of you have noticed that there wasn't a show last Monday. And the reason that I indicated in the email, and you can also go to the rockyourretirementshow.com and look at the post entitled Not Exactly Goodbye. So basically, over the last few years, I started the show in 2016. It was kind of a lark because back then, podcasts weren't really popular. In fact, nobody knew what a podcast was, especially in my audience. And I just thought it would be something that I wanted to do because personally, I was a little nervous about retiring myself. And you probably know that I can financially retire if I want to. But I've just been having, trepidations about retiring. What am I going to do with my life? What about things that come up with mom and dad? What about what's my relationship going to be like with my husband? Just all kinds of questions were going through my head about what was going to happen when I retired. And so I actually haven't retired yet. However, some of you know that I was a financial advisor and I wasn't taking new clients since 2015, but I did have some existing clients. And after a traumatic experience that I had, and I did talk about that in one of the episodes, it was in 2019, I decided that I was going to completely retire from financial planning, but I was going to continue to sell Medicare insurance. And so this year I was able to notify all of my existing retirement planning clients that I was retiring, and that will happen by the end of 2020. Coincidentally, there was a market crash during that time that had to do with COVID-19. So I basically waited until the threat of that was over. I mean, not completely over, of course, but I didn't want to tell people during that whole 35% drop. So let's kind of fast forward to why I'm cutting back on the Rock Your Retirement Show. So just wanted to let you know I'm not giving up the Rock Your Retirement Show completely. I'm just not going to be releasing episodes on a weekly basis unless I get some funding. And the reason for that is the Rock Your Retirement Show takes up a lot of my time and financial resources. At one time, for the last year or so, I've actually had an assistant who worked for me full time. He doesn't live in the U.S. He lives in the Philippines. And starting in about, it's been several months, he really wasn't performing as well as he was for the first 9 months, year, whatever. And then, of course, COVID hit. And it just got to the point where we had to part ways. And I was very, very upset, very sad about that. And I hope that things change for him and eventually he would be able to come back and put in the same type of effort that he was able to put in before. But right now that's just not happening. And with me giving up a big source of income, I'm just not able to foot the bill for the Rock Your Retirement Show the way that I was. I really need to focus on my family. I want to focus on my art. Some of you know that I'm dabbling right now in colored pencil drawings. I just don't want to put in the time and effort for something that I am not getting paid for. So I do have a Patreon page, and that is a page where you can make a monthly donation of, I don't know, $5 a month or something like that. I forget what the minimum is. If you go to the Rock Your Retirement Show /Patreon, then you can see all of the different levels of support. And if I get the support that I need financially, then I will go ahead and release an episode on a weekly basis. But until then, I have decided that it is going to be more sporadic than that. So my goal is to release an episode once per month. Angie, my producer, has agreed to assist me with the show, on that monthly basis. But honestly, she works for me in my Medicare business, and that is a big job that she does. And she has other clients besides me, and I can't just take up all of her time with the show. She's not volunteering, she does get paid for that. So here are some things that you can do to help if you're interested in helping. Number one, of course, supporting me financially is always helpful. And so you can do that by supporting me via the Patreon site. I cannot accept checks and things like that. Everything needs to go through the site so that I don't have to worry about figuring out taxes and things like that. I just don't want to have to worry about that. And yes, donations are taxable on my end. I am not a 501c3 organization, even though the show does not make any money. So yeah, I want to make sure that everything goes through Patreon so that I don't get into trouble later. The second thing that you could do to help me with the show is volunteer your time. There is a lot of effort that is put into the show. Some things that you might want to volunteer for is to, for example, be a moderator on the Facebook group. And that would involve posting on a regular schedule, talking to people in the group, getting to know them, connecting people if it seems appropriate, and of course taking down political posts and things that just aren't appropriate for the group. So that's the first thing. I'm looking for a moderator to assist. The second thing that you could do to volunteer is to create our images. So these images would be, usually we create 5 to 10 images per episode, and these images are for the Facebook posts, they're for the Libsyn, they are for the website, they're for Twitter, LinkedIn, all of the places where we promote the show. We need different sizes of images. It's pretty easy. I have a tool. You don't have to learn Photoshop or anything like that. I have a tool that makes it pretty easy to make the images. It just takes a little bit of time, and all of these little things add up. Another thing that you could do is edit the transcripts. So I have recently signed up for a program so that I can create transcripts for the show. It's machine learning. So basically I'm looking for somebody to listen and make edits to the transcripts. And you would use the tool to listen to the show. One advantage is you would actually get to listen to the show before it comes out. Or maybe not. I haven't thought about that yet. Another thing that I am looking for somebody to assist me with is making the show better through just advice, helping me do more edits than just the ums and ahs, maybe create more of a show that seems highly produced like they do over at PBS. Some of the big famous shows have 15 or so people working on them. Of course, these are all paid staff, but I am looking for somebody to perhaps assist me, not with the ums and ahs because Les does that, but with the cut, what needs to be cut out, those types of things. Now, there is one other thing that I am looking for, and this would make the show probably more on a perhaps twice a month basis. I haven't really figured this out, but I am looking for someone who is not yet retired but about to retire. What I would like to do is follow that person's journey from announcing the retirement to the world and or the job, the last day of their working life, just the journey that they go through over the 12-month period. And so this would involve meeting with me via Zoom or Skype and just talking to me about what is going through their mind. You know, I would like the person to keep a journal so that they don't forget anything over the course of the month, and just be honest. What is happening? You know, the first few months will probably be doing a lot of things around the house, but what happens after that first few months when the potential depression hit? What about financial obstacles? You know, just everything and anything. And the 6 pillars of retirement lifestyle that I've talked about in the past, I'd like to know from someone as it's happening. It could also involve, instead of keeping a written journal, keeping an audio journal using the recording devices that we all have, such as your phone. I am actually using my phone right now to record this because I put my podcasting little mini studio away, and I didn't want to drag it out to do this episode because it was requested that I did this, and I just wanted to whip it out. You can probably tell that this is not scripted. I'm just speaking from my heart, and I just wanted to get this out to you so that you didn't have to wait and you would know what was happening with the show. I'm sure I've forgotten some things, but that is basically what you can do to assist me. I'm looking for people to help me with all the little bits of the show, which include the promotional pieces, sharing the show on social media so that we can get other listeners. It was suggested that I bring on a financial expert. If I brought on a financial expert, it would probably be someone like Joe from Stacking Benjamins. But honestly, I don't think that he would come on the show in a regular capacity like that. And the reason is he has a lot on his plate already. He is involved in more than one show, and his shows are much, much bigger than mine. You know, he gets advertising dollars, and that is not something that I have really ever gotten. The small advertising that you hear on the show, for example, the NordVPN, well, first of all, really nobody ever went and purchased NordVPN through my link, and so I don't even know if they'll allow me to continue to be an affiliate, but that was not an actual advertising arrangement. That was an affiliate relationship, which means that anybody who signed up, I would get a few dollars from that. So if you're interested in checking that out, that's rockyourretirement.com/VPN. Victor, Paul, Nancy. That's correct. And then me advertising my own business on the show, I really, I've gotten a couple of phone calls, but for 4 years worth of work to get 1 or 2 phone calls, that doesn't exactly pay for itself. So yeah, so basically I'm looking for someone to help me with the Facebook group, someone to help me with the images, someone to help me with the editing, and someone to help me with the transcription. And anything else that you can think of, I probably need help. Because really all I want to do is get behind the microphone and speak. I really don't want to do all of the other stuff that has to be done for the show. That is what makes it difficult for me to do the show, is all the other stuff. So anyway, there you have it. That is the future of the Rock Your Retirement show. I am planning on doing an episode once a month to check in with you, to occasionally interview an author that I find interesting, or to talk to you about my retirement journey, or to hopefully at some point, I would really like to do this 12-month project that I've been kicking around in my head for the last couple of months. So if you know somebody who is maybe 3 months away from retirement and would like to let me follow them for the next 12 months, please connect us. There is a contact us link on the website at rockyourretirement.com. Just go there, send an email through the website, and we will be in touch. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Not sure when that is, probably a month from now, on Rock Your Retirement. Bye.